I watched my wife place her hand on her stomach, smile at 25 people in our living room, and announce she was pregnant. 3 weeks after I'd found texts proving she wasn't sure if the baby was even mine, and that she was using it to trap me. If you've got some time, maybe grab a drink and settle in, because this one's going to take a while. But I promise you, every single minute is worth it. So, why did I stay silent for 3 weeks? Why did I let her plan this big New Year's Day brunch? Invite both our families? Watch her rehearse what she was going to say? Because I needed everyone to see what I'd seen. I needed them to understand what kind of person I'd been married to for 5 years. And most importantly, I needed to take back control of my life in the most public, undeniable way possible. This is the story of how I went from being a devoted husband who desperately wanted kids to discovering my wife was having an affair with her personal trainer, to learning she was pregnant and planning to pass off another man's child as mine. It's about the 3 weeks I spent preparing for the moment I'd expose everything in front of our closest friends and family. And it's about what happened after. The fallout, the guilt, the healing, and eventually the life I built from the ashes. But let me start at the beginning, when I still believed in us. Rachel and I met in the fall of 2016 at a hospital charity event. I was a nurse practitioner working in the ER at Aurora Hospital in Milwaukee, and she was coordinating the marketing for the fundraiser. She had this energy about her, organized, ambitious, the kind of person who color-coded her planner and always knew what she wanted. I was drawn to that. I'd always been the quiet one, the guy who avoided conflict, who wanted peace more than being right. She seemed like she had her life together, and I guess I wanted some of that certainty. We dated for a year and a half before I proposed. Our wedding in October 2018 was small but beautiful. Lakefront ceremony, about 60 people. Golden hour lighting that made everything feel like a movie. During our vows, she looked me in the eyes and said, "Through sickness and health, in honesty and trust, I choose you." I remember thinking I was the luckiest guy in the world. Her parents loved me. My mom, who'd been widowed for 5 years, told me my dad would have adored Rachel. Everyone said we were the perfect match. And for a while, maybe we were. The thing is, I'd always wanted kids. I'm good with kids. At the hospital, I was the guy parents asked for when their kid was scared. I'd do the silly voices, make them laugh, turn the scary stuff into a game. Rachel knew this about me from the start. We'd even painted a nursery room in our house 2 years into the marriage. Pale yellow, gender neutral, ready and waiting. I'd stand in that doorway sometimes, imagining a crib there, a rocking chair by the window, toys scattered on the floor. But whenever I brought it up, Rachel had a reason to wait. First year of marriage. Let's get financially stable. Year 2. My career's taking off. Can we just hold off? By year 4, it became, maybe we're not ready, which slowly morphed into uncomfortable silences whenever the topic came up. I didn't push. I thought we had time. I thought she'd come around. Looking back, I can't believe how much I ignored. Our routine was simple. I worked 3 to 4 night shifts a week at the ER, 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., the kind of schedule that wrecks your sleep but pays well. Rachel worked a standard 9 to 6 at a mid-size marketing firm downtown. When I started picking up extra shifts to save for future family expenses, she started going to the gym more, a lot more. It started in June 2023. She joined this place called Peak Fit, got herself a personal trainer. At first, I was happy for her. She seemed more confident, more energized. She was going 5, 6 times a week, sometimes staying 2 hours. Her body changed, not that I minded. I told her she looked amazing. New workout clothes started showing up, the expensive kind from Lululemon. She was suddenly very particular about her appearance. And then, little things started shifting. She password protected her phone. We'd always had each other's codes, not because we were checking up on each other, but because it was convenient. Need to order food while the other person's driving? Grab their phone. But in June, she changed hers. When I asked about it, she said something about security after hearing a podcast about hacking. I accepted it. Why wouldn't I? Our sex life started to decline. She blamed exhaustion from workouts. Fair enough, I thought. She started doing girls' nights with coworkers, coming home late smelling like wine and cigarettes, even though she didn't smoke. She became irritable, defensive about small things. If I asked about her day, she'd snap, "Why do you need to know everything?" I'd back off, not wanting to start a fight. The conversations about our future stopped. She used to talk about vacations we'd take, houses we'd buy, the life we'd build. But by fall 2023, she avoided making any plans beyond a few weeks out. When I'd bring up the holidays or next year, she'd change the subject. If you've ever ignored red flags because you love someone, you know exactly how that feels. You tell yourself stories. She's stressed. It's just a phase. Marriage has ups and downs. Anything to avoid facing what's right in front of you. Thanksgiving 2023 should have been a wake-up call. We went to her parents' house. Her mom, Janet, her dad, Robert, her sister, Emily, the whole family. Rachel was glued to her phone the entire time, texting constantly. When I asked who she was talking to, she practically bit my head off. "Work crisis, can you back off?" Her mom gave me this sympathetic look, like she knew something was wrong, but didn't want to say it. That night when we got home, I tried to have a real conversation. "Are we okay?" I asked. She was taking off her makeup, not looking at me. "What kind of question is that?" "I just feel like you're distant, like you're pulling away." "You're being clingy, Chris. I need space." We went to bed angry. That almost never happened with us. I lay there staring at the ceiling, and for the first time, I let myself think the thought I'd been avoiding. What if she doesn't love me anymore? My brother Andrew had pulled me aside at Thanksgiving while Rachel was in the bathroom. "Dude, something's off," he said. "You see that, right?" I'd defended her. "She's just stressed with work. Just keep your eyes open, man." I told him he was being paranoid, but his words stayed in my head. In early December, Rachel suddenly suggested we host the New Year's Day brunch at our place. It was an annual tradition, usually at her parents' house. Mimosas, fancy frittatas, football on TV, both families mingling. She seemed excited about it, more engaged than she'd been in months. She wanted to invite about 25 people. I thought maybe this was a good sign, that she was investing in us again. "I want to start the new year with all the people we love in one place," she said, smiling. I remember thinking it was sweet. I had no idea she was setting the stage for something else entirely. But all of that, the routine, the trust, the hope that things would get better, it all came crashing down on December the 10th, 2023. A cold Tuesday night. The night I found out who my wife really was. I got home from my shift early, around 11 p.m. One of my coworkers offered to cover my last couple hours so I could rest. Rachel was already asleep. I grabbed our shared iPad from the kitchen counter to check the grocery list for the week. We always kept a running list there, but when I picked it up, it was unlocked and open to the Messages app. I saw a text thread labeled Tyler. The most recent message was from him. "Can't wait to see you tomorrow. Wear that thing I like." Rachel's reply, "You mean the thing my husband paid for? Done." My first thought wasn't even anger. It was confusion. My husband. She was talking about me, to someone else. About something I'd bought her, something she was going to wear for him. I should have woken her up right then. Should have demanded answers, but I didn't. I just stood there in our kitchen, the refrigerator humming in the background, and I kept reading. The thread went back months. June, 6 months of messages. "Last night was amazing. I can't stop thinking about your body. Meet me at my place after your shift. I need you." Your husband really doesn't know? He's so clueless, works nights, never suspects anything. There were logistics. She was meeting Tyler at his apartment while I thought she was at yoga classes. She was using our grocery budget to buy lingerie I'd never seen. They had inside jokes, pet names. She called him T with a heart emoji. But the worst message was from November 28th, right after Thanksgiving. Tyler. "What if he finds out?" Rachel. "He won't. He's too nice, too trusting. That's why I married him. Security. But you're the fun." I read that line 3 times. That's why I married him. Security. I felt my legs give out. I sat down on the kitchen floor, still holding the iPad, and I just stared at those words. 5 years of marriage. 5 years of me working extra shifts, painting nurseries, defending her to my brother, telling myself we just needed more time. And she'd married me for security while planning to have fun with someone else. I made it to the bathroom just in time to throw up. I stood there gripping the sink, looking at myself in the mirror. My eyes were red. I looked older than 32. I looked like a stranger. How did I not know? How did I miss all of this? But I knew how. I'd ignored it because I didn't want it to be true. I'd been so focused on being the good husband, on not rocking the boat, that I'd let myself become the fool. I spent the next hour taking screenshots, every message, every photo they'd exchanged, pictures of Rachel I'd never seen, intimate photos she'd sent him from our bedroom. I airdropped everything to my phone. I discovered the iPad still had deleted messages stored, so I recovered those too. There was so much more. Daily conversations she'd erased, voice memos of her laughing, saying things she never said to me. I backed everything up to cloud storage, created a fake email account, sent copies to myself. I was meticulous. The nurse in me, trained to stay calm in emergencies, took over. Or maybe I was in shock. I carefully placed the iPad back on her nightstand. She was still sleeping, peaceful, like nothing was wrong. I couldn't sleep next to her. I went to the couch and sat there in the dark until sunrise. When she woke up around 7, she found me there. "Hey, you okay? Why'd you sleep out here?" I forced myself to sound normal. Couldn't sleep. Didn't want to wake you. She kissed my forehead. "You're so sweet. Love you." Those words. I'd heard them 1,000 times. This was the first time they felt like poison. "Love you too," I said. She left for work, cheerful and normal, and I sat there in the wreckage of our life thinking about what to do next. I could confront her, pack her bags, file for divorce immediately, but I kept coming back to one thing. I needed to know everything. Was it just Tyler? Was she stealing money? What else had she lied about? I called in sick to work, first time in 2 years. Then I called a private investigator. His name was Mark, a gruff ex-cop recommended by a colleague at the hospital who'd gone through a messy divorce. I met him at his office, showed him the texts. "This is solid evidence for divorce court," he said. "But you want surveillance? I need to know if there's more. If there's someone else besides Tyler. If she's taking money. If..." My voice cracked. "If there's anything else, I don't know." Mark's face softened. "I've seen this 100 times. You're doing the right thing getting facts first. 2 weeks of surveillance, I'll document everything." Over the next 10 days, Mark followed Rachel. The reports came in like body blows. December 11th and 12th. Rachel visited Tyler's apartment twice. Photos of her entering and leaving. December 15th. Rachel bought a pregnancy test at CVL. Mark sent me a photo of her coming out of the store with a distinctive pink box. My heart stopped. A pregnancy test. December 17th. Rachel went to a women's health clinic on Oakland Avenue. Mark couldn't follow her inside, but he logged the time and location. December 18th. Rachel met Tyler again. They kissed in the parking lot of a coffee shop. The photo was undeniable, and then, on December 19th, my access to the iPad gave me the text that changed everything. Rachel to Tyler. Test came back positive. Need to figure out timing. Tyler. Is it mine? Rachel. Might be Chris's. I'll make it work. Tyler. What does that mean? Rachel. It means I secure my future either way. If it's Chris's, I finally have the family everyone expects. If it's yours, I'll convince him it's his. Either way, I'm set. I read those messages sitting in my car outside the hospital before my shift on December 19th. I had a full-blown panic attack, couldn't breathe, vision tunneling. My coworker Jessica found me hyperventilating in the parking lot and helped me calm down. "Chris, what happened? Talk to me." I told her everything. She listened, and when I finished, she said, "You need a lawyer, tonight." I had an emergency consultation with a divorce attorney on December 20th. She laid it out for me. Wisconsin is a no-fault divorce state, but infidelity affects alimony and asset division. The evidence I had was strong. I could file immediately. Or, she said carefully, you could wait. Gather more if you think there's more. I told her about the New Year's brunch, about Rachel's plan to announce the pregnancy. "I want to let her do it," I said, in front of everyone, "and then I want to show them who she really is." The attorney studied me for a long moment. "This is legal, but it's going to be brutal for everyone. Are you sure?" I thought about the nursery I'd painted, the 5 years I'd spent working extra shifts, The nights I'd ignored my gut because I didn't want to believe the truth. I've never been more sure of anything. She prepared all the paperwork, divorce petition ready to file, asset inventory complete, evidence organized. Everything would be ready to go on January the 2nd, the day after the brunch. I had 11 days to act normal, 11 days to play the loving husband while knowing my wife was pregnant with another man's child and planning to trap me with it. Those 11 days were the longest of my life. December 22nd, I accessed Rachel's health portal. We'd always shared passwords for emergency access. Her clinic notes from December 17th showed the estimated conception date, October 25th or 30. I checked my work calendar. I'd worked 5 straight night shifts during that window. We'd had sex once, October 27th, quick and forgettable, me exhausted between shifts. According to the PI reports, Rachel had been with Tyler on October 25th, 29th, and 31st. The math wasn't hard. Maybe 25% chance the baby was mine, 75% chance it was Tyler's, but she was going to announce it to our families with complete confidence, expecting celebration and applause, all while planning to trap me into raising another man's child. I thought I was building a family, but I was living a lie. That night, December 23rd, I drove around Milwaukee for 2 hours. I ended up at the lakefront in the middle of winter, freezing, just staring at the frozen water. I had this moment where I thought about just leaving, packing a bag, driving to another state, starting over. Or maybe just accepting it, raising the kid, never saying anything, dying quietly inside for the rest of my life. My phone rang. It was my mom. "Honey, I'm just checking in about the New Year's brunch. Your dad would have loved seeing you host. Are you happy?" I started crying, just broke down in my car by the frozen lake. "Christopher, what's wrong?" "I can't talk about it yet, Mom, but I promise I will, soon. Whatever it is, you're stronger than you think. Your father taught you that." After we hung up, I sat there watching the ice for a long time. That's when something shifted in me. I wasn't going to run. I wasn't going to accept this. If Rachel wanted a public spectacle of this pregnancy announcement, I'd give her a public spectacle, just not the one she was expecting. I drove home around midnight. Rachel was still awake, immediately suspicious. "Where were you? You didn't answer my texts." I lied smoothly for the first time in our marriage. "Long shift, phone died, stopped for food." She bought it. "Okay, well, I'm excited for next week. The brunch is going to be perfect." "Yeah," I said. "Perfect. I have something special planned, an announcement. I figured, can't wait." She smiled and kissed me. It's going to change everything. She had no idea how right she was. I spent that night making detailed notes, timeline of events, list of evidence, list of who would be at the brunch, what I'd say, when I'd say it. I decided I wouldn't tell anyone in advance. Not Andrew, not my mom, not Jessica. If word got back to Rachel, it would ruin everything. Christmas that year was surreal. December 24th and 25th, we did the whole thing with her family. I smiled through dinner, opened presents. Rachel gave me a wrapped gift with a tag that said, "For next week," a Best Dad coffee mug. I wanted to throw it across the room. Instead, I thanked her. I got her a new gym bag. The irony wasn't lost on me. Her parents kept saying how happy we looked. "You two seem so happy. 2024 is going to be your year." "I think you're right," I said, smiling. The week between Christmas and New Year's was all preparation. Rachel wanted to deep clean the house, get decorations, plan the menu. I helped with everything, set up chairs, hung streamers, bought champagne. Every moment was torture, but I didn't break. On December 28th, I met with the attorney one more time. She had everything ready. "You can file Monday, January 2nd, first thing," she said. "Are you absolutely certain about how you want to do this?" She's going to announce a pregnancy she knows might not be mine, to my family, expecting them to celebrate. Everyone deserves to know the truth. The attorney warned me one more time. "This will humiliate her publicly. It's legal, but have you thought about the fallout?" I thought about the text message. That's why I married him. Security. I thought about the nursery. I thought about 5 years of being too nice, too trusting. She humiliated me for 6 months. She planned to trap me with another man's baby. Yeah, I'm prepared. December 29th. I had a moment of doubt. I almost called the whole thing off. I thought about my mom's face when she'd find out, about Rachel's dad, Robert, who'd treated me like a son, about all the collateral damage. I called the attorney at 9 p.m. Maybe we should just file the papers, do this privately. There was a pause. That's your choice, Chris, but ask yourself, if you don't do this, will you always wonder what if? Will you always feel like she got away with it? I thought about the nursery room I'd painted. I'd spent 5 years waiting to be a father, and she'd spent 6 months making sure that would never happen with her. She was going to stand in front of everyone we loved and lie to their faces. No, I said finally. She chose the public stage. She wanted the performance. She'll get one. But I set boundaries for myself. I wouldn't share any explicit photos, even though I had them. I wouldn't get physical. I wouldn't make threats. I would stick to facts, her words, the timeline, the evidence. I wasn't trying to destroy her. I was trying to free myself. December 30th, I broke my silence with one person, Andrew. I showed him everything. He stared at the text for a long time, then looked up at me with this mix of rage and sadness. The pregnancy, he asked, might not be mine. She knows it might not be mine. She's going to announce it anyway. Holy shit, Chris. What are you going to do? Tomorrow, at the brunch. I need you there. I need someone who knows. You're really going through with this? I have to. Andrew hugged me. We're not really huggers, so that meant something. This is going to get ugly, for everyone. But I'm with you. Thanks. This isn't stupidity, man. Stupidity was trusting her. This is survival. New Year's Eve, Rachel wanted to go out with friends. I told her I was exhausted and stayed home. After she left, I walked through our house one last time as our house. I looked at our wedding photos on the walls. I opened the door to the nursery and sat in the rocking chair we'd bought 2 years ago. I was saying goodbye, not to Rachel, I'd already done that, but to the version of myself who'd believed in her, who'd trusted blindly, who'd thought love was enough. Rachel came home at 2 a.m., drunk and happy, probably texting Tyler. She whispered, "I love you," thinking I was asleep. Those words meant nothing anymore. January 1st, 2024, New Year's Day. I woke up at 7 a.m. with perfect clarity. I checked the iPad one more time, audio file ready, called the attorney, divorce papers ready to file Monday, showered, got dressed, wore the shirt Rachel had given me for Christmas. Petty maybe, but it felt right. Rachel was buzzing around the house, excited, setting up food, arranging flowers. Today's the day. I'm so excited. Me too. While she was in the shower, I placed the iPad on a bookshelf near the dining area, hidden behind a decorative bowl but accessible. I connected the Bluetooth speaker and tested the volume low. Everything was ready. By 10 a.m., guests started arriving. Rachel's parents came first, bringing desserts. Her mom, Janet, hugged me tight. "You're such a good man, Christopher." Her dad, Robert, shook my hand. "Proud to call you son." My mom showed up with Andrew. She gave me a searching look. Mothers always know, but didn't ask. Jessica from the hospital came with her husband, our couple friends from the neighborhood, Rachel's sister Emily, Rachel's co-workers Madison and her husband Tyler, extended family members. By 11:15, we had about 25 people in our house. Rachel was glowing. She was the perfect hostess, taking photos for Instagram, laughing, touching her stomach in little subtle ways that made people curious. I played my part, smiled, served drinks, accepted congratulations on our beautiful home, our beautiful life. Andrew kept catching my eye. "You sure about this?" I nodded. At 11:30, after everyone had food and drinks, Rachel clinked her glass. The room quieted. People turned toward her. She was standing near the fireplace, and I noticed, bitterly, that our wedding photo was visible on the mantel right behind her. "Excuse me, everyone. Can I have your attention?" The room went completely silent. People were smiling, expectant. "Thank you all so much for being here to celebrate the new year with us. Chris and I wanted to start this year surrounded by the people we love most." Her mom was already tearing up, probably guessing what was coming. "Many of you know Chris and I have been talking about expanding our family." A few people were nodding, grinning, putting two and two together. "Well," Rachel put her hand on her stomach and smiled the biggest smile I'd ever seen on her face. "We're pregnant." The room exploded. Applause, gasps, squeals. Her mom burst into tears and rushed to hug her. Her dad grabbed my hand, shaking it hard. "Congratulations, son." Finally. People were hugging both of us, friends I'd known for years. My mom hugging Rachel, crying. Everyone talking at once, asking when we found out. How far along? When's the due date? Rachel was beaming. "We're about 6 to 7 weeks along. Due in August." That was a lie. The clinic had said July, but she was adjusting the timeline to make it more believable that the baby was mine. Someone popped champagne. Rachel accepted sparkling cider with a theatrical, "Well, not for me anymore." Everyone laughed. They were toasting us. Taking photos. The joy in that room was at its absolute peak. I waited. Let them celebrate. Let the moment build. I needed everyone to feel the high before I showed them the fall. Then I walked to the center of the room, near Rachel, and clinked my glass. The room quieted again, everyone turning to me, thinking I was going to give a sweet speech. "Actually, everyone, before we go too far," I paused, meeting Rachel's eyes. She was smiling at me, expecting me to say something touching. "I have something I need to share, too." A few people chuckled, thinking I was being playful. Rachel said she wanted to start the year with everyone we love in one place. I thought that was important, too, because what I'm about to say, you all deserve to hear it together. Rachel's smile started to fade. Confusion crossed her face. I kept my voice calm, steady. "About 3 weeks ago, I found some messages on our shared iPad, messages that changed everything." The room shifted. People glanced at each other. Rachel's face went from confused to alarmed. "Chris, what are you—" "Let me finish." My voice was firm but not angry. I walked to the bookshelf and picked up the iPad. Rachel's eyes went wide. "Chris, don't—" I ignored her and connected the iPad to the speaker. "I think it's important everyone knows the full story of this pregnancy." I looked at her. "Rachel?" She was shaking her head, panic setting in. "This is insane. Everyone, he's been stressed. He's not—" "These are your words, Rachel, from your texts, with someone named Tyler." The room went completely silent. You could hear people's breathing. Her mom. "What is he talking about?" I pressed play. The audio came through the speaker crystal clear. I'd used text-to-speech for clarity, marking each speaker. Voice 1, Tyler. "Can't wait to see you tomorrow. Wear that thing I like." Voice 2, Rachel. "You mean the thing my husband paid for? Done." Someone gasped. Rachel lunged toward me. "That's out of context. You can't—" I held the iPad away from her. "There's more." The audio continued. I'd cut together the worst messages, about 2 minutes worth. Tyler. "Last night was amazing. Your husband really doesn't know?" Rachel. "He's clueless. Works nights, never suspects anything." Rachel. "I married him for security. You're the fun." Her mom had her hand over her mouth. Her dad stood up, his face going red. Tyler. "What about the baby? Is it mine?" Rachel. Might be his. I'll make it work. Either way, I'm set." The final message. Rachel. "If it's Chris's, I finally have the family everyone expects. If it's yours, I'll convince him it's his. Either way, I'm secured." Tyler. "You're something else?" Rachel. "I know." The audio stopped. Dead silence. Rachel was screaming now. "You had no right. You invaded my privacy. This is illegal." I pulled out the folder I'd hidden behind the bookshelf and dropped it on the coffee table. Photos spilled out. "I hired a private investigator. These are photos of you entering Tyler's apartment. December 11th, 12th, 18th, 28th. Multiple times." I looked at her parents. "The clinic visit on December 17th. The conception date they gave her puts it right in the window when I was working 5 straight night shifts. And she was with him." Her dad picked up one of the photos. Rachel and Tyler kissing in a parking lot. His face crumbled. "Rachel, is this true?" She was crying now, her voice rising. "Daddy, please, he's twisting everything." Her mom's voice was ice. How could you? How could you do this to him? To us? You're ruining everything." Rachel turned on me. "You planned this. You set me up. You planned a pregnancy announcement for a baby you knew might not be mine." "It's not fake. I'm pregnant." "Maybe, but is it mine?" She couldn't answer, just stood there crying, her perfect moment destroyed. Andrew stepped next to me, solid. "She can't answer that." Madison, her work friend, had her hand over her mouth. "Oh my God, Rachel!" Some guests were leaving already, grabbing coats, too uncomfortable to stay. Others were frozen, unable to look away. Rachel's sister, Emily. How long have you been doing this? Rachel broke down completely. You don't understand. None of you understand. She looked at me with pure hatred. I loved you. I gave you 5 years. You married me for security, I said quietly. Your words, not mine. Her mom grabbed her coat and left without another word. Her dad stood there, staring at Rachel like she was a stranger. Get your things, he said. Now, you're coming with us. I live here. I'd already prepared for this. I filed a restraining order this morning. You have 24 hours to get your stuff. That was a lie. I hadn't filed yet, but it worked. Madison approached me quietly. I'm sorry you're going through this, but that was brutal, Chris. She was going to lie about the paternity. What was I supposed to do? Jessica squeezed my shoulder. You're not alone. We've got you. By 12:30, the house was empty except for me, Andrew, and my mom. We sat in the wreckage, half-eaten food, champagne bottles, scattered photos of Rachel's affair. The decorations we'd hung together. My mom finally spoke. How long have you known? 3 weeks. Oh, honey. She hugged me, and I broke down for the first time in front of anyone except my brother. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Andrew made coffee. We sat there for an hour, not saying much, just existing in the aftermath. The next few days were chaos. Rachel went to her parents' house, and the fight there must have been nuclear because I heard about it through mutual friends. Her mom couldn't look at her. Her dad demanded an explanation. Rachel tried every defense. Chris was never home. He was always working. Tyler made me feel alive. But her parents weren't buying it. You used him, her mom said. You used all of us. When Rachel tried to justify the pregnancy announcement, the baby might be Chris's, we don't know. Her dad lost it. But you knew there was a chance it wasn't, and you were going to lie to everyone. To him, to us, to your own child. I heard Rachel had a panic attack that night, that her parents called a doctor, worried about the pregnancy. Part of me felt guilty, most of me felt numb. And then things got worse, because someone at the brunch had recorded part of the confrontation on their phone. By January 3rd, the video was circulating, not viral, but within our friend groups, our community. Local people we knew. Rachel checked her social media and lost it completely. Her perfect life, Instagram, the one with all the couple goals posts, was suddenly under scrutiny. People were commenting, calling her fake, a liar, a cheater. She made everything private, but the damage was done. On January 3rd, HR at Rachel's company called her in. The video had reached someone in her office. This has become a distraction. We think you should take some leave. She wasn't fired, but she lost out on a promotion she'd been counting on. Her colleagues whispered, avoided her in the break room. Tyler got the worst of it. Clients at PeakFit found out. Milwaukee's a small world. Parents pulling their kids from his training sessions. Women refusing to work with him. Management called him in. We can't have this drama. You're done. He was fired. Lost his income. His girlfriend, yeah, he had one, found out and left him. He sent me a message on January 5th. You didn't have to destroy me too, I replied. You destroyed yourself. I just told the truth. Rachel's family fractured. Her sister Emily stopped talking to her. Her extended family found out. They were church-going people, very traditional. Rachel's grandmother told her she'd brought shame on the family. People at their church were gossiping. Her parents were humiliated. Meanwhile, Rachel was spiraling. She wouldn't leave her parents' house. She was obsessively checking social media, destroying herself with it. She stopped eating properly, which scared her mom because of the pregnancy. They made her see a therapist. She was diagnosed with acute anxiety and depression, put on pregnancy-safe medication. She tried to contact me multiple times. January 5th. I'm sorry. Please talk to me. January 7th. You ruined my life. I'll never forgive you. January 10th. The baby is yours. I know it. Please believe me. My lawyer told me not to respond, so I didn't. But here's what nobody tells you about revenge. It doesn't feel the way you think it will. The first few days, I ran on adrenaline. I'd done it. I'd exposed her. Everyone knew the truth. Justice, right? But then the adrenaline crashed. I was exhausted, empty. I started having nightmares, Rachel crying, the baby being mine, waking up sweating and confused. I'd get flashes during the day, her mom's face at the brunch, the sound of her dad's voice breaking. I started seeing a therapist on January 8th. I told her everything. "Do you regret it?" she asked. "I don't know. I wanted everyone to know the truth, but I didn't expect all of this. Her losing her job, Tyler losing his job, her family falling apart. You exposed infidelity and deception. You didn't create those things. She did. I know, but it still feels like I broke something that can't be fixed. You're allowed to feel complicated about this. Hurt and anger can coexist with guilt and regret. That's being human." The divorce moved forward. Rachel initially contested it, then gave up. In March, the court ordered a paternity test. Rachel finally agreed. The results came back on March 15th. Tyler was the biological father. I sat in my lawyer's office staring at the paper. I'd known it was likely, but seeing it confirmed, seeing 99.9% probability that this baby wasn't mine, hit me harder than I expected. "How do you feel?" my lawyer asked. Relieved, and then sad, because some part of me had still hoped. I didn't finish the sentence. Hope for what? That she'd been telling the truth? That the baby was mine and we could somehow fix this? I don't know what I'd hoped for. The divorce was finalized in May. Terms were clear. I kept the house since I'd bought it before marriage. We split savings 60-40 in my favor because of the proven infidelity, no alimony. She kept her car, her personal items. It was done. We had one final interaction, signing the papers. Rachel looked different, smaller somehow. She was showing now, visibly pregnant. "I really am sorry," she said, "for what it's worth." I looked at her. This person I'd loved for 7 years, and I felt nothing. Not anger, not sadness, just nothing. "It's not worth anything now." We never spoke again. The months after were about rebuilding. Therapy every week. I learned I had issues with codependency and conflict avoidance. I'd ignored red flags to keep the peace, made myself smaller to fit into Rachel's life. I'd defined myself as a husband, as a future father. Now I had to figure out who I was without those labels. Small steps. I repainted the nursery, turned it into a home office. I removed all the wedding photos from the walls, except one, which I kept in a drawer, not to remember her, to remember who I'd been and how far I'd come. I got a dog in June, a golden retriever I named Archer. I'd always wanted a dog. Rachel had said no. Now nobody was stopping me. I started running again, lost the weight I'd gained from stress, took a solo trip to Colorado in August and hiked alone for a week. I rebuilt my social circle. A lot of our couple friends had really been Rachel's friends, and they faded away. I got closer to Andrew's friend group, reconnected with college buddies, started hosting small dinners at my place, said yes to invitations, hiking trips, brewery tours, game nights. In October, I got promoted to senior nurse practitioner. I started mentoring new nurses. I found purpose in helping others, in being good at my job. I considered going back to school, but decided to wait. I wasn't running from anything anymore. I was moving towards something. Then, in November, I met Emma. It was at another hospital charity event. Ironic, right? Same kind of event where I'd met Rachel 8 years earlier. But Emma was different. She was a physical therapist at a different hospital. We talked for hours at the bar, both holding drinks we barely touched. She'd been through a divorce, too. Emotionally abusive ex-husband. She had a 6-year-old daughter named Lily. I was honest from the start. "I'm probably not ready to date. I'm still working through some stuff." She laughed. That's the most honest thing a guy's said to me in years. We became friends first. Coffee with no pressure, easy conversations. In December, I met Lily. She was shy at first, clutching her mom's hand. Then she showed me her dinosaur collection and talked for 20 minutes straight about velociraptors. Emma watched us with this soft smile. "She doesn't warm up to people easily," Emma said later. "She likes you." We took it slow, very slow. Our first kiss was on New Year's Eve 2024, exactly 1 year after the brunch. We were at a quiet bar counting down to midnight, and when the ball dropped, she kissed me. "Happy New Year," she said. I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. By spring 2025, we were officially dating. I became a part of Lily's life, but carefully. I wasn't trying to replace her dad. I was just there, for movie nights and homework help and teaching her to ride a bike without training wheels. She started calling me Chris, but she'd introduce me to her friends as my mom's boyfriend Chris, and that was perfect. As for Rachel, I heard updates through mutual friends. She had the baby in August 2024, a boy named Connor. She and Tyler tried to make it work. They moved in together, tried to co-parent, but by February 2025, they'd split up. Rachel was a single mom working a lower-level marketing job, living in a small apartment. Tyler had visitation every other weekend. Her Instagram was barely active. No more such couple goals, no more perfect life posts. Just occasional photos of Connor. Her comments were turned off. I heard she was struggling, but also trying, going to therapy, building a relationship with her son. Her parents were slowly coming around, getting to know their grandson, though things were still strained. I didn't wish her harm. I didn't wish her well either. I just didn't think about her much anymore. Which brings me to now, March 2026. 2 years and change since that New Year's Day. I'm engaged. I proposed to Emma on Valentine's Day, and she said yes. Lily was there when I asked. I'd checked with her first, asked if she'd be okay with me marrying her mom. She'd hugged me tight and said, "Does this mean you'll be here forever?" I told her that was the plan. We're talking about adoption in the future. Emma wants more kids, and I'm realizing that fatherhood looks different than I'd imagined. I might not be Lily's biological father, but I'm here. I'm present. I'm building something real with someone who sees me, chooses me, and means it every day. I still go to therapy every other week, still working on trust issues, still learning to speak up when something feels wrong instead of swallowing it to keep the peace. Emma's patient with me. She knows my story. She's never made me feel broken. Someone asked me last month if I regretted how I handled things. The brunch. The public confrontation. Honestly, I don't know. Maybe I could have done it differently. Maybe I could have exposed her privately, filed for divorce, moved on quietly. But would that have given me closure? Would that have made Rachel face what she'd done? Would I still be wondering if I'd been too passive, too nice, too trusting one more time? What I do know is this. I'm not angry anymore. I'm not bitter. I'm just free. I thought I was building a family, but I was living a lie. Now I'm building something real, with someone who chooses honesty over image, who values trust over comfort, who shows up even when it's hard. Rachel made choices that destroyed our marriage. I made choices about how to respond. Neither of us is the same person we were 3 years ago. I hope she's building something better for herself and Connor. I really do, not for her sake, but for his. As for me, I'm sitting on my porch right now with Archer at my feet. Emma's inside making dinner. Lily's in the yard teaching the dog a new trick. The sun's setting over Milwaukee, painting everything gold. If you'd told me 3 years ago that my life would fall apart on New Year's Day, I wouldn't have believed you. But if you told me I'd find myself on the other side of it, stronger, happier, surrounded by people who actually love me, I wouldn't have believed that either. Life's funny that way. It breaks you down, forces you to face truths you'd rather ignore, makes you question everything you thought you knew about yourself. But if you're willing to do the work, to sit with the uncomfortable feelings, to choose yourself even when it's hard, you can build something better from the pieces. I'm not the same guy who painted that nursery, who ignored red flags, who stayed silent to keep the peace. That version of me died on December 10th, 2023, holding an iPad in a dark kitchen. This version, I'm still figuring him out. But he's honest. He speaks up. He sets boundaries. He doesn't accept less than he deserves, and he's finally, genuinely happy. That's worth everything.